Welcome to My ArundelBiz Podcast, powered by Arundel Economic Development Corporation.
A podcast that celebrates the businesses and business owners throughout Anne Arundel County.
Hello and welcome to another great episode of My ArundelBiz Podcast.
Yep, it's obviously a big year, as all of you out there know. The 10-year anniversary of managing the Vault Fund and also all the growth and success of the Inclusive Ventures program. So we've got a great guest with those two things in mind today. Yalmikia Edmonds, founder and owner of Levonye Professionals, a hair restoration center in Glen Burnie, right here within a stone's throw of where we're recording. And she's not only one of 12 awesome members of cohort number 7 of IVP, but she's also the very first recipient of a loan from the Volt Microloan Fund, which we just launched. So, Yalmikia, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
So to kick things off, got a quick question about, so we go back. So this is the reason why we go back. When she graduated from the IVP program, you know, we were all happy. Everything was great. And she walks up to me and I said, "Hey, how you doing?" And she says, "Hey." And I noticed that she's looking at my head. Now I'm wondering what's going on. Like, is there anything? And she's like, "Yeah, this is what I do." And she hands me the pamphlet, and I'm thinking to myself, like, oh, this is kind of wild. Like, why are you just going to do that? You just going to talk about all this, you know, going on here. But then when I started to read it and I started to find out and I started to go into it, I was like, oh my God, it's amazing. It really is amazing. It had me start thinking about getting a Jerry curl or something. But podcast would be totally different. But what I wanted to know is, with your business, can you tell us a little bit about it and the background?
Yeah, so I'm a licensed cosmetologist, and I have been a licensed cosmetologist since 2004. On my journey, as I began to grow, I began to also experience my clientele beginning to lose their hair. Mm-hmm. And so when I began to experience that, I thought to myself, like, if they losing their hair, then what am I going to do? Right. Because this is something that they don't really teach us in cosmetology school. Sure. Servicing individuals with alopecia. Mm-hmm. And so that's what led me to go back to school to become a hair loss practitioner. And when I did that, I'm like, okay. Now, of course, it was some time in between, but that was the first thing that I realized that I was going to have to do if I wanted to be able to effectively service my clients, instead of telling them, like, I can't no longer service you anymore because I don't know what to do here. And so from that point on, I began to discover more about the hair loss business, hair restoration. I started taking other classes. I even got into scalp micropigmentation, which is another non-surgical hair replacement service. And it just been like a domino effect of things afterwards that was related to hair restoration. And that's how it all started. Like,
so the thing about it is that the last one that you talked about, the pigmentation, that was, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the tattooing?
Yeah, it's we insert pigment into the scalp to replicate the hair follicles. Oh, wow. So we call it a hair tattoo, but professionally it's not a tattoo because the needle that's used doesn't go deep like a needle for a tattoo. Ah. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Now, speaking of going deep, let's find out about this name.
Levonye Professionals.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So, Levonye Professionals I came up with that name because, my grandmother, she had experienced breast cancer. She began to lose some of her hair. And of course, I began to service her with that specifically. And I'm like, before I came up with Levonye Professionals, my brand was called Couture Beauty Salon. Okay. And so I'm like, I want to do something. I want to change my name. You know, every 5 to 7 years, you rebrand yourself. Sure. And so I thought to myself, what can I do to incorporate what's going on in this moment, like with my grandmother, and come up with something that will be factored in, or I would say collaborating with my family history or something like that.
Right.
I still haven't fully wrapped my head all the way around it, but Levonye Professionals, that's where that come from. So like my mom name is Valentine.
Oh, okay.
That's my middle name.
Okay.
But I did not want nobody to be able to identify me.
Right.
Because someone can easily say, oh, I know who Yalmikia is.
Yeah.
So I'm saying to myself, like, if I come up with Levonye Professionals, and it originated from me servicing my grandmother while she's going through experiencing breast cancer, and that was like in the beginning moment of me transitioning from operating as a cosmetologist to a hair loss practitioner. So that's kind of like how I came up with that. My grandmother's name was Anna, and so I was like,
I was about to ask the stupid question of if her name was Levonye or not.
no, but she named my mom.
Okay.
And I asked her, like, why? How did you come up with that name, Valentine? My grandmother let the nurse name my mom, and the nurse named me. And so it became like a little traditional thing. But Levonye Professionals, it originated from me servicing my grandmother when she found out she had breast cancer and she had to go through that process of losing her hair.
Right.
And so that's when I came up with that name.
Well, it's good branding. It's got, it rolls off your tongue. It's
And it doesn't really, for me, when I look at my own brand, the logo, the name, Levonye Professionals, the name itself, I can do so much more with it, right? And that's why I kept it very simplistic, because the professionals, I can do so much more outside of the hair loss business.
Right.
So, yeah.
And speaking of that, so I spent some time on your website, and I learned about a lot more, I think, hair loss conditions and issues than I probably knew about beforehand. And obviously, it's not, the super simple late night infomercials when I'm watching SportsCenter that I see of like, oh yeah, $50, we'll send you this thing, rub it on your head, shower, and your hair's gonna grow into an afro or whatever. So in layman's terms, what are some of the main conditions that you treat, and also, some of the products you offer, and then how's that grown over time as well?
Yes, some of the services that I provide for my clients. First, my demographic is females, but we're not limited to men and children. Right. A lot of my customers are women who are between the ages of 45 and 75. And a lot of them suffer from alopecia. The cause of their alopecia, it could be from them going through chemo. Right. It can be induced hair loss, which is taking medication. Okay. It can be stress. I had a client who granddaughter committed suicide.
Oh, wow.
And she lost her hair instantly.
Really?
Right? So, yeah, you can go into shock and lose your hair. You can experience scalp conditions, scalp disorders that can also lead to hair loss. Our diet.
Yep.
It's so many components connected to alopecia. So I kind of put myself in this space where I'm able to service all of these individuals, no matter where they're coming from or how they got to that point. Right? So that's one service, which is non-surgical hair replacement. That's when we use the hair systems.
Yep.
To replicate their natural hair and to give them a authentic look. So most of my clients are women who experience alopecia from anywhere between 10 to 40 years. They come in and receive this specific service, and it take me less than 4 hours to do.
Wow.
That is amazing to me, to be able to do something that has been affecting them, and they've been losing their quality of life all those years.
Right.
And they come in and able to get something, and instantly I see a change.
Yeah. And it's awesome because that's a true blessing. I just want to jump in. That's a true blessing because I remember my mother-in-law going through chemo, and it was that moment of her, and we weren't that far from her, where she was like just combing her hair, and then then she saw it, and I just remember, and this is one of the strongest women I've ever met in my whole life. She just broke down into tears, and in my mind I was like, okay, what's going on? And it was just so much of our identity, especially as African Americans, is attached to our hair.
Absolutely.
It's attached to, it's our crown of glory.
That's it.
And so it's trying to kind of pull that back together.
Right.
And a service like yours and a company like yours is a true blessing, not only to the community, but it's really to people's way of life.
Absolutely.
And it restores more than just the look.
And so, speaking of that part, so what makes our business unique is that we provide education. Like the grand opening, my vision is to do an art gallery. I want to have before and after photos of the services we provide, because when people come, someone or people who may come, they may not experience it, but I want them to remember, like, if anyone come across their path, we would be the people that they think about. We would be the business that they think about. Because if we provide in this space for them to just see these before and afters, and we also provide an education for them to understand it, it's like, wow, we want them to store this in their memory bank. We want them to also just take a step back and just be able to view, like, this was them and this is them after.
Yep.
So I have customers who cry, who husbands even text me and say they so happy. I even had a husband tell me how I saved their marriage.
Wow.
Because of his wife because of the service that I provided to his wife, he's seen a change in her. So it's definitely life-changing, and the value and the quality of life. And even aside from doing that specific service, we do trichoscopy services, which is where we can look at the scalp with a microscope, and we provide that experience for the customer to see what we see on a micro level, and we can actually point and look at the follicles and see what's going on. So we are able to, like, stop hair loss before it even start.
Wow.
Yeah. It's serious, like.
That's great. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Sponsored by NASA. Because this technology is out of this world.
It's
awesome.
amazing. And to think that I would be doing this right now, I can think back maybe 7-8 years ago, I wrote this down in my journal. Yeah. And I didn't know how I was going to get there or get here, but I saw me being able to service women on a more meaningful level, because doing hair is fun. I love it, but it became so redundant, and I'm like, I need more. I need something to challenge me. And then I started getting clients with hair loss, so that was the challenge, right? And then when I got that, I'm like, okay, I started doing my homework. And then once I got what I needed, I had to get certified to be able to accept insurance. So that's where the hair loss practitioner certification come handy at, because now I can become a vendor with the VA, which you can do that still, to be able to accept medical insurance for women who suffer from chemo. We can they can use their insurance to pay for the wigs that we provide.
Oh, okay.
That's
great.
So that's where that piece come in at. And just to also show, like, I'm not here just doing this. Like, I have proof. And even being in a cohort, like, I took pictures. I was able to incorporate that in my business now. So when my customers come in, they can actually see that, wow, she is really, really making a change. Like, she's not only investing into the business, but this is investment into us as well.
Yeah. Right.
So if you come, you'll see, like, I have photos from the graduation. It's going to be put up on the wall and everything.
We'll be flashing some of those up during the episode.
Yeah.
And some of the before and after pictures.
Yes.
I think we had a recent, also this year, a guest that did in Glen Burnie, actually, or in Brooklyn Park, revitalization completely of a building, and we flashed up before and after pictures.
Wow.
So it's pictures worth 1,000 words, obviously.
Yes.
So can you tell us about how you discovered IVP?
So I discovered IVP. I moved out Glen Burnie, out this way, like towards the end of October of last year.
Okay.
My business was in Woodlawn, Maryland, where I lived. And, when I moved out this way, my business was already in the area. I relocated from Woodlawn to Glen Burnie, and I started, spending more time out here because this way I work. And I'm like, now I want to move out here. And so I did. And then when I moved out here, I'm like, well, I need to find some funding. I need some money so that I can expand or grow, so I can do what I need to do for my business. And so what I did was, I've been a part of different cohorts for Maryland. I was in this, I applied for, like, the Boost program for Baltimore City. It's a lot of programs, but you have to be in Baltimore City for some of these programs.
Right.
And I was not in Baltimore City. I was in Baltimore County. So when I got here, I thought to myself, well, let me see what Anne Arundel County has. And so when I got online, because Google is like my best friend,
Right.
and I started Googling, and Anne Arundel County Economic Development Center came up. So I surfed the website.
All right.
And I
It
looked through
works.
there.
It's good to hear.
I looked through it. I saw Steve Pramash. I saw his name on there, and it said contact Steve.
Yep.
I contacted Steve, and he got back to me via email. Then some way, somehow, I got connected to Barbara. And then I found out about the IVP. I found out IVP through Barbara.
Yes.
And that's when I applied. And it just went from there. It just started with
beautiful.
Googling.
That's exactly what we like to hear.
So with that being said, what was the biggest way that IVP helped your business?
You can give us a top five or something if you want.
The top 5, I would say the first would be being accepted into IVP, the cohort. That was my first. The second part within the cohort, I got to network and meet my colleagues, my classmates. So some of them are already, they got more than one location, like the
Right.
Big Bean. I went
Right.
to there, I support them, and I love their drinks, by the way. But learning about their businesses, I'm a small business, it's just me. I'm a solopreneur, but not for long.
Sure.
And so I got to network with them and learn from them and possibly even be mentored by them. And then the third thing I would say is Will. Oh my goodness, Will challenged me through that whole journey. So I'm gonna share something with you all. I was not comfortable with pitching my services to men.
Okay.
I wasn't. So that was a conversation me and Will had. And he challenged me. He said, well, what I think you should do is I think you should, when you go out this weekend, look for wherever you are. If you see a guy, give them your business card. Tell them what you do. And so I did, and it was about 10 people, 10 guys. Only 4 got back to me, but that 4 got back to me were
That's pretty
customers.
darn good.
Yes.
That's like the email open rate I'm aiming for.
So
40%.
that same week, and then that following week, they came in for consultations. Like
Wow.
I made a little over $15,000.
Jeez.
Yeah, so that should have been that should have been the first. But anyway, I'm going in order, and so that was probably our 5th call when I shared that moment with everyone. That was a pivotal moment because I was able to make some money while I was in the cohort based off of Will challenging me. Putting together like my projections and all of that stuff, I already had it, but I have learned so much more about projections and preparing my business for the future and being able to see my business from a bird's eye view. It made it so much easier and clearer for me being in the program. And so with that being done, I'm like, I'm gonna need some money now because I'm motivated. I need to get some employees and all of that stuff. And so I applied for the Volt loan.
Yep.
But Stephen was telling me that he's working on this micro vote loan.
You had good timing.
He was like, just be patient with me. This is something I just started. It's going to take some time. It's not a guarantee, but I think that you're going to be good. I think this is going to be good. And I'm like, okay, fine, cool. And so I continue to keep in contact with Steve and Barbara through that process because I was like, I'm ready.
Yep.
Like I was so ready. And then when I got the email from Steve saying that everything was a go, I screamed, I cried. Barbara called me. I was so excited. And now my business is in that phase of being built out and everything is being done. And thanks to the Volt Microloan.
Yep.
Or the
Volt
Microloan.
Microloan.
Yeah, so now I was able to get everything that I needed for my business. I'm able to even bring 2 employees with me, which is 2 students from the school I volunteer, the cosmetology school that I volunteer out here. And I'm able to pay them and train them at the same time. So eventually I'll be able to take a step back from the business and work on some other stuff. But everything that I needed for my business, that Volt Microloan took care of everything for me to get me started.
That leads me into my next question. As we were saying before, just by a kind of crazy coincidence, as I said before, we're celebrating our 10-year anniversary of managing the Vault Fund, and we send out notification letters to all the elected officials with every loan saying, hey, here's this great business that's growing. And obviously the whole point is access to capital, specifically for small businesses, but even more specifically, minority-owned, woman-owned, and veteran-owned. But in any case, we awarded our 150th Vault Fund loan in August, and like within a couple of days of that, I got the email saying that we'd awarded our very first Vault Microloan fund. So, and I got to create the page for it, slap your picture up on it, which will be showing everybody that's watching out there. But in any case, so as you were saying, Steve kind of saw a need for that fund, Microloan, to make access to capital, even easier for specifically business owners who'd gone through an incubator program just like IVP.
Right.
So the whole goal is it's not only open to IVP folks, obviously, because it's statewide, but people just like yourself. So with all that being said, we obviously know how you found out about it. First IVP, and then learned about Volt, and then the great timing.
Right. And that happened so fast.
Yeah,
That was
obviously
quick.
did.
I wasn't expecting it to happen that fast. Yeah. Even being in the cohort, I wasn't thinking about no funding.
Right.
I just really wanted the knowledge and the experience to learn more to grow my business.
Right.
That's what I really was there for.
Right.
And just the opportunity. And even with that, we got funded $10,000.
Yep, you get
so
some money
that
with that, too.
$5,000 covered my security deposit for my new space.
Right.
So I was grateful for that. But after being in the program, it just really inspired me watching my peers and hearing Will and Dr. Thurston, everyone who was supporting us, sharing all this information. And I'm like, well, now I'm ready to go to this next level because it's just me at the time.
Right. And
so I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to use some funding to get to this next level.
Yep.
Right. And that's when I, applied for the regular Volt loan.
Right.
And then Steve was telling me about this, what he was working on. He was like, I think this would be better for you. And me, I'm going to listen because he would know better than me.
Well, and not to get into the weeds too much, but our Volt Fund is anything from $25,000 up to $500,000, and Microloan is up to $50,000. And in the end of the day, you still got your $50,000 of capital that you needed to grow your business, right?
I did. So, yeah.
So how was it working with, so in the office, because I'm Steve also, and we got a counterpart, Steve Rice, who works for City of Annapolis. So we call him Money Steve. So Steve Primosh. How did you find it working with him?
I really enjoyed working with Steve. When I reached out to Barbara and Will, and I was telling them that I was going to I was needing some funding. Because aside from the cohort, the program, I was looking at other places too. And I'm like, if I don't get it here, I'm going to get it from somewhere.
Right.
So when I reached out to Barbara, and I'm like, well, I want to apply. I didn't even realize that I applied back in February of this year. This was before I even applied for IVP.
Oh, okay.
But I kind of forgot about it. But when she was telling me what to do, I went through the process. I'm like, I already started this application. So she was like, just go ahead and submit the application. And then she told me to reach out to Steve for further information so we can get on a call. So soon as we finished our last class, like that week, I got on a call with Steve, and he told me to send him over like my expansion plan, my business plan, what I'm gonna use the funds for. I was already ready because I had it all ready.
Right.
And I sent it right to him, and that's when he started to tell me about the Volt Microloan and how he think that would be even better because I was the IVP graduate. And I'm like, that's fine, cool.
Yep. Awesome.
But it was amazing working with Steve. I really appreciate his help. He was very supportive. Even when he came out to look at my space, he walked through And he just was like, oh, this is going to be nice. Like, it used to be a podiatry office.
Okay.
But my vision, because I service women with hair loss, I'm really a practitioner. So if you come in here, like, if you go see your therapist or if you go see your doctor, they take you in a private setting. So it's the same thing with servicing people with alopecia. Like, we have these different rooms for us to service women with alopecia, to do your low-level laser therapy treatment, to do even traditional services, because I am still a licensed cosmetologist, and we ain't leaving no money on the table. So if you come in and want to do a haircut, or we do haircuts. If you want to do a silk press or a press out or a wash and curl, we still do those services too. And that's where the two young ladies coming in at to do that part of the business.
Awesome.
So that
Get it all done in one place.
But we still provide an intimate setting.
Right.
So you don't have to worry about nobody looking at your pain points.
Sure.
While you're, yeah.
So now that you've kind of laid that out and kind of like what you guys do, aside from the new location, where do you think your business is going to grow?
Yeah, because you're obviously growing fast.
I already outgrew this space, but I'm just grateful because I'm just grateful. But honestly, what I want and what I see is expanding, eventually continuing to train and teach professionals like myself and helping them get certified so that they can service more women with alopecia. And the reason why I want to take that approach is because I can't do it by myself. It's a lot of women suffering from hair loss, and they need support. And if I'm just the only one in the DMV area, then that means I have this long waiting list because I can't service all of these women in a short period of time. And so if I can team up with some licensed cosmetologist who is, interested, but not only just interested, but you have a passion for wanting to service women with hair loss, then we would be able to continue to add more value to their lives and their quality of life. So my goal one day is to have like this big building with like small rooms, suites, where we're able to still provide this intimate setting for these individuals with alopecia, and they'll be able to continue to do these services, but under Levonye Professionals.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, you probably already know about our workforce training grants, which are also made just for that. When they're going through that certification, we can reimburse some of that, because we're all about
that's going to be in my next business plan. Yes, exactly. So I'm actually meeting with a young lady on Sunday, and she's older than me, and she wants to work with me. She's like, I really love what you're doing. I want to help you. I don't care if I just got to work the front desk or if I got to shampoo some heads. I just want to come work with you. And I'm like, okay, thank you, God. So I'm going to meet with her on Sunday and see what happens.
Man.
So wrapping up, I do want to know, and this is the heartfelt part of the show. Cue the music. No, I'm kidding. What are the top tips that you have for aspiring entrepreneurs? And you know what? Let me flip that question. So, where you are right now, speak to the younger you. And what would you tell the younger you that is going through the pain points of having a business and growing that business?
Or even, do I want to start a business? Can I start a business?
Well, what I would have to say about that is the younger me then, if I had to, what would I tell my younger self? Honestly, when I was younger, I always had this vision that I just wanted to be successful. Like, I just always would tell myself, I just want to be great. I just want to be successful. And then that turned into me always going to the candy store saying, one day this is going to be my salon. And it ended up happening to be my salon. So the store that I used to go to when I was a little girl, I ended up making that it was my hair salon.
Oh, the actual place.
The actual place. It was right in the neighborhood I grew up in. And so I would say I would still continue to do what I'm doing now, because what I was doing then, I'm doing now. I would just see it, I would speak it, and I would just believe it. But I didn't know it, I didn't understand it, I didn't know how it was going to materialize. I just felt that it was going to happen. So I would just continue to inspire my own self. How would I do that? By self-affirmation, saying that I can do this, this is possible. Or back then I would watch like The Cosby Show, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, like those type of TV shows inspired me too. So I would look at those type of shows. I don't know what it was about them TV shows, but I was just like so inspired to be successful.
Well, because
Claire Huxtable was a pretty bad lady. She was.
And plus, is always great when you are at least beginning a journey to be able to see people. Who you can actually visualize people who, what word am I looking for?
Have made it, basically.
Well, not have made it, but who make it personal to you. You actually see your goal in them.
I can see myself in them. Like they are mirroring me in my future self. So that's how I saw Claire Huxtable. She was a lawyer. Right. And my mother used to always say, you should be a lawyer. And I'm like, I don't want to be no lawyer. But I just loved her demeanor. I loved her stance. I loved how she was just so calm. But it also was like, don't you play with me. I love that about her.
She had that balance.
So, just seeing things like that. And also, where I come from, I didn't really have a lot of people around me to look at to say I want to be like that. So that's why watching TV shows and then just having the mind that I had at an early age is what moved me and what got me through. So I
mean, it's just you got to see it to believe it, basically.
And you know what? I want to change that because I didn't see it physically. It was here. I saw it here. And I was able to move and apply action, and that's how things began to show up because I saw it it was like a movie in my mind or something.
Right. Well, now you got, I mean, not to get too corny, but now you got clients or clients' kids, family members seeing you and being like, man, look what she's done. So that's
it's a beautiful thing. And it's a whole community. Like to have my clients want to be a part of my business. I mean, I have clients come to me with their own ideas and be like, Mika, since I'm the one that's dealing with this, if you have a client that's new and they need someone to hold their hand through the process, let me know, help me, I'll help you figure out a way where we can be here to support this person. Because even though I am providing the service, I'm not the one with that condition. So when you have someone that's going through the same thing, it makes it easier for the next woman to say, okay, let me give this a chance. Let me give myself a chance. And I'm just going to move forward and do it. So it's a beautiful thing.
That's awesome. Well, and speaking of community and the business and the location that we're in, for my last question, if you could just tell us a few of your favorite things about both now living in Anne Arundel County in the Glen Burnie area and having the business here. And then a little third follow-up, if you could drop a few of your favorite places to actually visit in the area.
Okay. I love Anne Arundel County. Years ago, I used to live out here in Severn on Porterfield Road. And when I was living out here then, that was over 10, 15 years ago. And I always used to just love to hear the airplanes. So where my business at now is in that tall building. The restaurant I love to go to when I'm in between clients or when I got a break is Bubba's. So I go to Bubba's and sit over there and I look at the fourth floor where my space is and be like, that's my space up there. Like, I don't know. I just like the feeling that I can go right here and eat me a good burger or a salad and look and walk right back across the street. So I love that restaurant and they kind of new too. And then my son, he goes to Glen Burnie High. This is his first year. He's been homeschooled since 5th grade. And so now I was just reaching out to them to see how ways I can volunteer at the school. I had to get my son permission first, though. So
of course.
He's trying to follow me to school now. But I love the school so far. I love Bubba's. Living out here and working in the area, like I'm just so excited. Like I can just walk up to people and just give them my business cards. And like if I see anyone with hair thinning or hair loss, I just give them my business cards.
Including those men now, right? Like Will told you. Just saying.
And I just feel like it's a lot of money in Anne Arundel County. Like I just feel like that. I do. And I'm coming for it.
It's money and opportunity.
It's a lot of opportunities, networking, and I want to be able to raise more awareness about my business by showing up at different events, networking.
Yeah.
Because people need to know about Levonye Professionals.
Yeah, as you probably know, and Grayson and I well know since we do all our marketing communications, there's 6 chambers of commerce that
I'm a part of
cover in
one.
Anne Arundel. So there's always events going on and places to get your name out.
Yeah.
And speaking of getting your name out, obviously everybody can just Google Levonye, and you're probably the first thing
Everything
that
gonna
pops
come up.
because you got a good branded name. But if you could just remind everybody where to find the website to learn about you, and then also your social channels.
Okay. So you can find Levonye Professionals. Instagram is a long name. Levonye is Levonye, and then Professionals.
Yep.
That's Facebook and Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Google, and the
Everywhere.
website is Levonye Professionals, but that's with 2 Fs. I
Okay.
use 2 Fs on purpose because I still have Levonye Professionals with 1 F. I got that stored away for something else.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So, LevonyeProfessionalsbrand.com, and that's professionals with 2 Fs.
Yep.
You can learn everything about me and my business
Yep.
on the website.
See before and after photos.
Yeah.
And get products, right?
And we even have a free ebook you can download for hair loss. If you're dealing with
okay.
hair loss and you're trying to
Man.
figure out some ways to fix that or learn about it, you can download our free ebook off of there as well.
Awesome. So thanks
Thank
for
you.
a great one.
Thank you so much.
And thanks for being in business in Anne Arundel
Oh,
County.
thank you all for having me out in Anne Arundel. I love it here.
Awesome. See you next time.
Thanks for listening to and learning about another great local business on the My ArundelBiz Podcast.
As a reminder, you can watch this episode, past episodes, and all upcoming episodes on YouTube and Facebook, or listen to them wherever you get your pod. And last but not least, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn to stay up to date on the latest business and economic development news, events, and opportunities in Anne Arundel County and beyond.